you on where we stand if we don't win this struggle, and also telling you what we stand for as the National Unity Platform, what our promise is to our country. You know, I was briefing you that for us what we promise is a renewed hope. You know, and I was telling you that we have a promise of a vision built on 5 strands, but most importantly and firstly is a people-centered governance, well knowing that we as a country deserve much more than what we are being presented with. We deserve the country that works for all citizens. You know, we deserve a government that respects the rights of all citizens. Uganda deserves a corruption-free government. You know, we deserve a government that is a servant government to us, a government which does not, you know, cover up murders of for criminals, a government which serves justice to all of us equally. We deserve fairness and equal opportunity, no matter what your first or last name is, no matter what your tribe is. We deserve a government where jobs are not given to people from one region and there's no shame. You know, we deserve to all be Ugandans and be proud of the fact that we are Ugandans. That is our first promise. Our second promise is equal access to quality services, especially healthcare and education. You all know we cannot, you know, continue to live in a country where hundreds of thousands of children drop out of school and they're left for dead. We cannot live in a country where the government does not, you know, care for children that are suffering from the nodding disease, a government which abandons thousands of children. For example, 7,000 children or even more have been defiled, abused during this lockdown. We don't see that as a top government priority. So we want a government that looks at that and sees it as a problem. We want to improve the healthcare services, just like in education. We must prioritize the welfare of our people instead of spending all this money in millions of dollars buying weapons to simply scare off our people, to intimidate our people. You know, we must invest in these resources. We must invest in the people, have these resources, you know, channeled to ventures that are going to be helpful to our people, bettering our education, make it skill-oriented, better our arts and athletics, start viewing them like they're viewed in the developed world. And this, we have lived it, we feel it, and we know if we have the mandate, we shall fix it. Our third agenda point is inclusive economic development. What we have today is an economy that is owned by a few against the many. The few connected people, the few powerful people, they own the entire economy, while the majority are just, you know, they are servants suffering in stinking poverty. You have seen it, you have witnessed it, ladies and gentlemen. We live in it every day today, and we're struggling to ensure that the people of Uganda come out of that stinking poverty. You know, whether one is a teacher, or one is a police officer, or one is a farmer, or one is a singer, or one is a boda rider, they all deserve to live a dignified life because our country is endowed, ladies and gentlemen. So we have, you know, to fix it. We also believe in national security and international relations. Countrymen and women, General Museveni is boasting of bringing security, but we all know, as we are taught by the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that peace is not only absence of war, but peace is the presence of justice. So if there's no justice, you cannot claim that there is peace. You know, you cannot promise to ensure peace in Uganda simply by pacifying the situation. We must have socio-ecological peace, we must have physical peace, and we must have economic peace. You know, what is the use of us being at peace when we are not at peace with our neighbors? We only pretend with them. We must make sure we are at peace with neighbors. We must make sure there's no Cold War between us and our neighbors. You know, we must not be warmongers like the current regime is. We must export peace in order to import peace. We must live in peace and harmony and in respect for our neighbors. We believe in that. Our fourth point is land, agriculture, and natural resources. You see, our country, we all know, is called the Pearl of Africa because it is endowed. We have natural resources that are sufficient to sustain our country and its people. But you know what? The problem is that General Museveni looks at Uganda as his personal property. He looks at Lake Victoria, Lake Narubale as his personal property. He looks at the oil in Bunyoro as his personal property. You have even heard him saying, my oil. He looks at the gold in all parts of Uganda as his personal property. And we must reverse this. We must, have all these resources belonging to Ugandans. Those in power must not take Ugandans for fools. We must make sure that all the natural resources of Ugandans are for the benefit of all Ugandans. Now, regarding land, we have noticed the rampant land evictions by the rich and the powerful. Here in Uganda, it has been even worse, done by those who are well connected, and this has been to the detriment of the poor. We must reverse this. So with this in mind, comrades, let us do everything within our power to make sure that we win. We must stop, we must dismantle, we must dislodge this dictatorship led by General Museveni, or else our children and their children and their children will never ever forgive us. Generations that come will continue to ask us what we did when our country was going, to the dogs. So at this point, let us continuously ask ourselves this question: are we doing enough? Are we doing what we must do? And are we doing it with all our might? So, what must we do? There is quite a lot that we must do. Quite a lot. But, every little thing that you can do, do it and do all of it. One, support this struggle. There are those friends who are supporting the ground soldiers, assisting them with posters, assisting them with transport, with fuel, assisting them with materials. Please continue and do it even more. Those people do a lot of work. Those that are supporting the foot soldiers, go on ground, do it. Those that support them secretly and publicly, please continue. There are those that support our secretariat. Please go ahead and do it. There are those that are petitioning the United Nations and the European Union and other international bodies and organizations. Continue doing it, brothers and sisters. There are those that are always guiding us on our policy development. Do not stop. We don't need only financial assistance. We also need, intellectual assistance. There are those that are collecting evidence of crimes against humanity to take General Museveni to the ICC, together him and his parents. And please don't stop. Please don't stop. Let us all do whatever we can do, and do it even much more than we were doing it. We must get organized. The future belongs to the organized. It will be painful, it will be tasking, it will be strenuous, but please, we must not give up. We must not give up. Let us soldier on. I know that one day we are going to look back and even wonder how we were able to do this. One day we are going to all agree that it was worth it. So let us continue. Let us do what we can do. I'm also aware, and let me talk about it. There are simultaneous schemes sponsored by the regime trying to stop us, trying to derail our struggle, and trying to, divert us, right from malicious court cases brought against myself and leaders in People Power and National Unity Platform. And there have also been efforts to sow seeds of division in our camp. Those seeds are sown especially along tribal lines. I encourage you to take heart, comrades. All these are steps to stop us. But we know that the Almighty God is fighting alongside us. We shall win, because we must win. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Let us push on hard. Let us do what we must do. Let me also finally mention to you that soon it will be nominations for the presidential candidates, members of parliament, and all other positions in governance. And we have been preparing. We've been going through the vetting process. It still continues, and soon we shall come out to unveil to you the candidates that are going to carry the National Unity Platform. We know it has been tasking in the face of regime crackdown, in the face of regime sabotage, in the face of arrests. You all know that the regime has been arresting our people constantly, accusing them of, our people, our agents that go town to town, door to door, region to region, registering members of the National Unity Platform and People Power Movement. But again, the regime has gone ahead to arrest them, accusing them of apparently recruiting rebels. We are not giving up. We are continuing the struggle. We encourage you to continue supporting us, ladies and gentlemen. I can only promise you that we shall not give up. And if with your help, with your support, financial, moral, psychological, logistical, and otherwise, we are definitely going to win this struggle. I want to thank you. I salute you, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to give you a brief of what is happening home, but I also want to interact with you, and I will request my tech team to allow in comrades that would love to ask questions. I know some of you are on Zoom, while others are on Facebook. Kindly send in your questions. Let's interact. And for those that would like to also, submit and chip in and give a few thoughts, you are most welcome. I thank you and I salute you for God and my country. People power, our power. Our power, people power.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think there was a tech glitch on my end. I think that Comrade Doreen Kajumba, if she can comment, right, can take over.
I can pick it up and just expressing sincere appreciation from our principal. You inspire us every day.
Thank you.
You have helped put this idea in context for us. Imagine a 5-year term of Mr. Museveni, an additional 5-year term of Mr. Museveni. What would that look like? So that is a really great question. We have had very positive, encouraging messages from the chat, and I think my colleagues monitoring the YouTube and the Facebook will reiterate. People are encouraged, people are in support, they are praying for you, and they are praying for all of us in the struggle, and they say that they are proud of you. Thank you so much for waiting. What being put in place. There are still related questions around cutting off social media. Again, what kinds of plans or thoughts are being put in place? We may address this the best way you can, maybe without necessarily delving into the detail, but people are clamoring to understand what plans they are. The other related question is recognizing that the system of election is already rigged based on the recent revelation that majority of presiding officers are people from the same house. The polling precincts are limited in populated centers and more available for those that are less populated. So that means access to voting and ability to exercise the vote for individuals in populated areas is going to be restricted. So if you can, in a nutshell, wrap your responses around that, that will help people the question and answer discussion. I hope you had these questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you will allow me, maybe I will be responding to maybe 1 or 2 questions at a time so we can be able to make this more interacting. Thank you, Doreen. This has been on everybody's mind. What are our thoughts on vote guarding? This is in 3 phases. First and foremost, our mission was to create enough awareness and enough interest on the electioneering of our country. You will remember that in the past, Ugandans, especially young people, were greatly disconnected from the elections. So when people power came in, we wanted people to exercise their power. But again, that power is supposed to constitutionally be exercised through a vote. Well, we know that our constitution provides for all Ugandans doing whatever they can within their power to ensure that the constitution is respected. And that explains why in the back we try to fight for the constitution. Unfortunately, it was amended by force of arms. However, here we are now. Our first step was to sensitize people, make them aware of their power, make them actually know that their vote counts. Their voice counts, but it only counts through their vote. And their vote can only count if it is respected, if it is followed up, if it is guarded. You cannot guard a vote that you've not cast. So we encouraged all Ugandans to register as voters and get their national ID, Ndagamuntu. I am glad to report to you that massive numbers of new voters were registered, and we are confident that those are people that are registered because they want to see a difference through a vote. Now we are going through the campaigns. We continue to encourage all Ugandans, and that is why I saluted you, comrades, that are facilitating foot soldiers that go on ground. They go with our posters, sending our message down, encouraging people to vote, but also showing them who and what to vote for. I have presented myself. I'm glad to report to you that the nation has massively welcomed my candidature. And yes, they stand for the same values that we stand for. Now, coming to the day of election, we encourage people to come out in massive numbers and vote. You notice that it has always not been in the interest of the regime for Ugandans to massively come out and vote. We want the numbers to be staggering. Coming now directly to the question, what happens after we cast the vote? We have told it to the Ugandans, and we continue to tell them that they themselves are the ones that are going to guard the vote. The same way we did it in Chadondo, we tried it in Jinja, in Rukunjiri, we tried it in Bujiri, and also in Arua, and it worked. Ugandans will come out, cast their vote, and not leave the polling stations, because it does not break any law for Ugandans to be around and see the votes being counted. So the people of Uganda will be there. We are encouraging them. We are teaching them. We are sensitizing them. Our foot soldiers are moving on the ground, sensitizing the people that casting the vote alone is not enough. They must follow it up. This is only one day that all of us are dedicating as a country. Now, after counting that vote, there will be no magic that will be applied, because we will know the numbers. We will know what every candidate has gotten on every polling station. There has been fears that the regime will announce a different result from the election. I disagree with that. I tell Ugandans to go ahead and vote, because if President Museveni tries to play around with the voices of the people are being sensitized to resist that. And yes, our people are picking the message and the solid. So we know that this time around, if we do what we intend to do, this time around, if we come out in massive numbers, cast our votes and be there, the vote will be too huge for President Museveni and his machinations to mess with. And that is the guarantee that we give all Ugandans, because we all are going to be involved in it as Ugandans. As per the second question, there's a narrative that is being cast that the election is already rigged, because it's clear that the Electoral Commission that is led by Mr. Byabakama is not honest. You all saw recently when a city lawyer came out to demand that the Electoral Commission provides my education credentials. And yes, the Electoral Commission wasted no time and provided my academic records. Another city lawyer came out and petitioned the Electoral Commission to provide to him President Museveni's academic credentials. It is funny, it is absurd, it is shameful that Mr. Byabakama, the same leader of the Electoral Commission who was very quick to release my academic qualification, has up to today refused to produce President Museveni's academic qualifications. That sends two suspicions out. Either President Museveni actually does not have the academic qualifications that qualify him to run for president, because in any case, when he took over the reins of power in 1986, he did not provide his academic qualifications. He did not go to be screened whether or not he qualifies to run for president. He just picked up a gun. He and his fellow bandits went on a killing spree, and at the end of the day, he was in State House. So Ugandans continue to join this lawyer called Muwonge to demand for President Museveni's academic qualifications. And the failure so far for the Electoral Commission to heed to the law when it comes to President Museveni, when they had to respect the law when it was about Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, continues to cast doubts of the ability of the Electoral Commission to conduct a free and fair election. Also very important to note is that the day National Unity Platform was unveiled, the top leaders of the top officials from the Electoral Commission were fired, including the spokesperson, Mr. Jotham Taremwa. Now, Mr. Byabakama came out and lied with his eyes open that these people had actually not been fired, but they had taken leave. It is until Mr. Museveni came out and confirmed in his own words that he actually had fired these people, that what we said was confirmed, that yes, these people had been fired by President Museveni because they apparently slept on the job, and the Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ended up having or belonging to a party called the National Unity Platform. Now these double standards, this fact that exposes the head of the Electoral Commission, who was a judge, exposing him as a blatant liar, still communicates to us that there will be no honesty, there will be no transparency in this election. But again, we also bank on the words of former President Idi Amin, who told the Ugandan boxers who were going for a fight to represent Uganda. They complained to him that the referees from developed countries were always one-sided and did not give them win even when they had won. He guided them to always win by knockout. We intend, ladies and gentlemen, to win by knockout, and that is why we encourage millions upon millions of people, especially the young people, to come out and vote, cast your vote, protect your vote, watch it as it's being counted, and then the regime led by President Museveni will have no excuse but to see the exit. I thank you, Doreen, and I hope I have responded to you fully.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I'm going to call upon at this moment, Peter. I think that was Madame Grace who was shooting those questions.
Yes, that was me. I think we can transition to someone else, Doreen or Mr. Ikapuro. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And maybe,
two questions.
yeah, and maybe, Comrade Haman, I know that when we interact with the comrades in the diaspora, questions are going to be in their loads. In the interest of time, because I don't intend to hold people so long on Facebook here, I would request that we have maybe 2 or 3 more questions. I noticed that people are firing 4 questions in one, 2 questions in one, but I'm also confident that our diaspora leader has the ability to encourage them to summarize so we can attend to them in the time that we have. Thank you.
All right. Actually, I'm going to go off script, Mr. President, if you may allow.
Sure.
I want to unmute 2 or 3 people. I'm going to unmute 3 people to make this more interactive. This is a people's movement. I want to allow, we have 642 participants. Now I'm going to pick out 3 participants from the Zoom conference call, so that you can hear the questions from themselves. Now,
sure.
The instructions are going to be that you ask a question, you don't make a statement. Ask 1 or 2 questions, you just ask 1 question, dash, 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 question mark, and that's it. If you go past a question and start explaining your question, I will unfortunately have to mute you for the interest of time and to accommodate this. I'm going to read out these names randomly. I think I'll have Mr. Abdallah Katende, who has his hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm going to send you an unmute request. As soon as you accept that unmute, go ahead and file a question to our president so that you get the opportunity to interact with him. Mr. Osamuel Ogidi. I'll ask him to unmute and then go ahead and fire the question. Then I'll ask one last person so that it is not a leader-to-leader conversation, but people to their incoming president's conversation. I apologize that this was not part of the plan, but I feel compelled to do this. Thank you.
To hijack.
All right. So, Mr. Abdallah Katende, I've sent you an unmute request. Kindly accept that request and go ahead and fire your question. We'll give you a second to do that. I'm also going to send an unmute request to Mr. Ogidi Osamuel. Kindly unmute yourself, accept that unmute request so that you can fire your question. You had your hand up for a long time. Awesome. Yes, that is Comrade Abdallah Katende. Kindly state where you are from and ask your question.
Yes, my name is Abdullah Katende.
Yes, sir.
I'm from Qatar.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So my question is, according to what is going on with the brothers on ground,
yes,
it is seen that very many are being arrested and tortured.
Yes.
Well and good for the regime, that is its way of work.
Okay.
But I request the president,
yes,
to put in every place,
yes,
a law enforcement group to work upon this.
You mean
whoever is arrested?
You mean a legal team?
Yes.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Because whenever there is okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. I think Abdallah Katende was simply giving a suggestion, but I see Mr. Osamuel. I think the president himself has taken down that suggestion. Kindly mute yourself, Mr. Abdallah. Thank you for that question. I'll ask Mr. Osamuel Ogidi to go.
ahead and fire his question. I'll take two more questions or two more suggestions from the people who are participating, and so that we can let the principal go. Mr. Osamuel Ogidi, are you there? We can see a pattern, but I hope I can see your face.
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you very much, moderator.
Yes, where are you located? And go ahead and fire your question. You're in the UAE? I think you have a second live stream, which is making it difficult for me to hear you, or for us to hear you.
It's all right. Let him mute. Lower his volume.
Go ahead, Comrade.
All right. Mr. President, what infrastructure we have in all constituencies as far as the data export for the register is concerned and the polling stations?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ogidi.
So, is there any effective procedure method that he has in order to take over government if it so any resistance?
I think your service is a little bit difficult. I'm going to ask the
president to respond to those two concerns. Mr. Ogidi, thank you very much. Mr. President, the suggestion by Comrade Abdallah was that you have a legal team in the different regions, and then also Mr. Ogidi asked that is there an infrastructure in place at polling stations in regards to the election? And then I'll have two more questions, and then maybe our comrades on Facebook can go ahead and close up. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Comrade Haman. I thank you, Comrade Katende from Qatar. Yeah, indeed, there has been wanton arrests, wanton tortures against our colleagues. The young men and women continue to face it rough. And it's sad with the women because the regime is targeting their dignity. However, we salute those that continue to hold fort. Now, I must update you that we have a legal team. And I thank the leadership of that legal team, Council Anthony Wameri and Council Shamim Malende, together with your teams. You have done an amazing job. We thank the former leader of our legal team, Comrade Benjamin Katana, and the team that has done an enormous job. But again, ever since he handed to Comrade Wameli has continued to do a good team. We salute them. However, we continue to face challenges, comrades, because we are battling with an entire state. They have a lot of money, and they know that by dragging us with senseless court cases, they are taking away our valuable time. We continue to appeal to those fellow Ugandans that can assist legally, those young lawyers that can give their time, anything that you can give, be it your time, be it your legal services. We need them because this is a mass struggle, this is a revolution, and we need the constant assistance. But as of now, we still have a team of lawyers, and we are scattered in different regions of Uganda. We continue to expand to make sure we can reach out to our foot soldiers, to our comrades who continue being arrested and arraigned before court. Yes, Comrade Ogidi was asking whether we have an infrastructure to handle the polling day. We continue to build it. And even right now, I'm appealing to those who are in Uganda that can offer them their services, that can volunteer. We are mainly operating on a voluntary basis. For those that have been sponsoring our foot soldiers, I know different individuals in the diaspora are not only sponsoring our foot soldiers to go on ground, recruit people that are going to preach our message, but also to sensitize and teach those that are going to work as polling assistant, agents, and vote gatherers. We encourage you to go ahead. We salute you. We thank you because you don't only facilitate them, but you also supervise them. Like I've always been saying, comrades, this is a rubber dub style. Everybody can do something, even if it is supervising from where you are. Facilitate these young people and supervise them. Let them report to you. Let them give you an accountability of their work. Let us do this all together. While the regime focuses on Kyagulanyi, you are doing great work. While the regime focuses on the National Unity Platform and People Power Secretariat, the work is ongoing and is being supervised by people, not even in Uganda, but in the diaspora. So you can do quite a lot. While we try to do what we can on ground, we know that you're also doing great to help the people and to help the struggle. Now, if I could have one round of questions, Comrade Herman.
For holding the people, we have 607 participants, so you're making my job very not easy. I'll ask Comrade Allen Tumukunde. She raised her hand. She has had her hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute and ask your question. I've sent you an unmute request. Comrade Allen Tumukunde, if you can accept that. I see Maureen Peace, Oproscovia. Is it Allen Tumukunde unmuted?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, yes, nice to see you. I'm also, just before you go, I'm going to ask Maureen Peace to unmute herself, and then the last one will be Proscovia's iPhone. Those are the people who had their hand up, and go on, Madam Allen.
Yes, Mr. Ahmad, thanks so much for giving me this task. I take this opportunity to welcome my president, my principal. Since I'm in diaspora, I will specifically ask questions in diaspora.
Which part of the diaspora are you?
I'm in UAE, Abu Dhabi.
Thank you.
I'm an executive Abu Dhabi. I will take this chance to ask the question concerning the diaspora, so that the principal can help us and clarify more to us. We have a challenge right now. We have 3 stages where we reach. We need 3 things. One, we need money to facilitate the struggle.
Madam Allen, I'm going to request that we ask a question in a sentence so that we can give other people an opportunity.
Yes, I get your point. Mr. Amon, I want to ask Mr. Kyagulanyi. He said specifically when he's releasing the no cuts, they're going straight away to report letters. But to our understanding, some people are getting cuts and they're not put letters. What do you say about that?
Okay, thank you, Madam Allen. Thank you very much.
I would love to tell the principal he launched Mudaku Muda purposely only in Kamucha. Would he expand it more for us or in diaspora areas so that we can also go on with Mudaku Muda?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Allen. Madam Proscovia's iPhone, kindly unmute yourself and ask the President a question. And then Maureen Peace, if you can unmute yourself. Maureen Peace or Proscovia's iPhone, one of the two. If not, meanwhile, the President can go ahead and respond to that concern, or I can respond being the team leader of the diaspora, depending on what his preference is.
Thank you very much. If you allow me, I would love to respond to them, and when I leave you in charge, then you can assume full powers and enjoy. But for us, as long as I'm still seated here, why don't I still be using that word that they say Entebbe Oma? Yeah. Do we have anybody online, or should I go on, Comrade Haman?
Yeah, I think Maureen Peace is unmuted. She can go on and turn her video on so that she can ask a question, and then you can respond to those two concerns. Maureen Peace.
Thank you, Comrade Haman.
Yes.
Hello. Are you getting me?
Where are you? Which country are you from?
I'm in Uganda.
Oh.
I'm calling from Kayunga.
I am.
Yeah, but I guess I wanted to give you this opportunity to another person from a different country, because I personally can reach the president and ask you, thank you, I'll come to your inbox.
Thank you. Okay. Fred Peter, kindly go ahead and ask a question, since you had a plan to ask a question from Facebook.
Okay, there's so many comments, but as the principal said, people are saying to us that stop calling the principal comrade, start calling him president. So that's up to principal or comrade secretary. Let me just continue. There are a number of comments, but I'll just summarize them for some time. There is, say, someone from Jamaica who says, how can they help the campaign because they want to be part of the history? And they say at the same time, I think this will go to our policy team, not for you to answer me. We need to have policies in there that sort of attract, like Ghana's done, or attracting other Africans who are not born in Africa to come and settle and invest in Uganda. So that I won't expect you to answer this in the policy team. In specific questions that actually people I really want to put in, I have had a number of questions from the Middle East. There is one Dorcas Lakiwa and one Nanunja Fiona, who say, what do we have, or what does NUP have in terms of the suffering of people in the Middle East? Really, how and when is that going to be, how are they going to help? I think that's one that I really have to put to you. The other one, the compliments again, they're saying thank you very much. The testing process is excellent and transparent and will give us very good leadership. The other is from someone from Ghana who says, apart from talking about Ugandan change, we also need to think more about the whole African continent. Effectively, what Museveni has been saying about Pan-Africanism and actually moving nowhere. It's like a theme of, it's a song actually, about East Africa, Uganda, East Africa, Pan-Africa, but actually, 35 years, where is it gone? I don't know.
Thank you, Comrade. Thank you, Comrade Peter. Mr. President,
yes, please.
As I've been directed, you go ahead and respond to those two concerns, and then we can wrap this up so that we can let people.
Thank you very much, Comrade Haman. I appreciate Comrade Peter for the love and respect and all the airs, but I wouldn't mind being called Comrade, because before I'm in the presidential chair, I'd love to still enjoy the comradeship. In any case, I really want to be a servant leader. So even when I'm president, I would love to be called Comrade President. Now, apart from the different compliments, Comrade Peter raises two important questions, and I'll answer them in one. One about the suffering of Ugandans. He singled out those in the Middle East. But I'm aware that Ugandans continue to suffer in very many different countries. It's very unfortunate that many of them have died and they're even buried there. Why? Because our country does not see it as priority. For as long as President Museveni is still in power, everything else is secondary. And that should sink in our minds and hearts. We should understand it that we as Ugandans actually do not matter to President Museveni and his cronies. It explains why we had all the ability to repatriate Ugandans that were being dehumanized in China on account of their skin color. But the government of Uganda stubbornly closed the airport, and yes, our brothers and sisters are still there. It was after a lot of noise that a few, lucky Ugandans were picked from wherever they were. Even when the airport was still closed, you saw that the tycoons, the mighty and powerful of our country, were able to come back to their country. We also know that an ambassador was buried in Saudi Arabia recently, was not brought back to be buried by his, together with his ancestors, by his people. So I'm sad to mention that the suffering of Ugandans will continue until we put an end to the Museveni misrule. That is the only solution to put an end to the separation and all the the vices that are ongoing in our country. The solution, the medicine, lies in putting an end to the Museveni dictatorship, which we shall soon accomplish, put an end to. And yes, on the stand of Pan-Africanism, we talk about Uganda because that is where we are. As of now, that is the only place we can dare to change. And after that, we'll of course dare to change the whole of Africa, because like Kwame Nkrumah said, Africa cannot be free until all of Africa is free. The dictatorship that is in Uganda has a bearing on the lives of other Africans. And yes, the freedom of Uganda will have a huge bearing on the rest of Africa. President Museveni has many times boasted of being a Pan-African. But what kind of Pan-African leaves fellow Africans to be mistreated simply because they are black, and you cannot even allow them come back home? What kind of Pan-African, goes around mongering wars, with neighbors, goes around destabilizing countries around us, instigating civil war in those countries, and yes, creating refugee crisis around the world, only to benefit from those refugee influxes? So we want to, uplift Pan-Africanism in the real meaning of Pan-Africanism. The East African community, for example, must not be a club of presidents. No, it must be with the people. We must share values. We must share aspirations. We must share goals as a people, not as leaders. What kind of Pan-African does not see value in the next generation? Instead of uplifting the next generation, he is trying to suffocate the next generation. And yet Africa survives on the posterity of Africa. The African tribe where I come from, the Baganda, they have a saying that emiti emito yejugumiza ekibira. It is the young trees that will make the African forest thick and strong. Unfortunately, with President Museveni, he's trying to eliminate all the good trees that are in the African forest. Therefore, he, in his actions, is trying to destroy Africa under the pretext of Pan-Africanism. We are the real Pan-Africans. We are the generation that is borderless, that is limitless, that is tribeless, that is religionless. Our religion is Africa. Our tribe is Africa. Our desire is Africa, uniting Africa and making sure that Africa in this time as an era realizes her full potential. We are the true sons and daughters of Wakanda, aka Uganda, aka Africa. We thank you. So with those few remarks, Comrade Herman, I want to salute all the comrades. I want to salute all of you for being there. I want to thank you for being present in huge numbers. We apologize for the technological glitches that we encountered. We apologize for coming on late. You see, we are trying it under the circumstances, because you know that we cannot freely access radio stations or TV stations, so we depend on the internet. We hope to, do this much more regularly in a more stable situation, so we can be able to communicate with you, ladies and gentlemen, to keep you filled in, to keep you connected to home. We are living in a time of an era where everything is possible. So we as a generation, we must maximize that. I want to thank you, and yes, I've already promised that I will be regularly coming to connect with you. I've already told you that we are banking on the internet. We want to use the internet before they black it out. You have seen the regime here in Uganda is plotting to completely shut our mouths, to completely shut out the internet. You've seen that they want us to get licenses for expressing ourselves on our own social media pages. So we're trying to use it before they succeed in blocking it. Already, they cannot allow us to appear on radio stations outside Kampala. Why? Because they are scared of the message of liberation that we bring to the people of Kampala, of the people of Uganda, the people of Africa. Let us continue. I encourage you to continue using social media. Kindly continue funding our activities. Continue funding the efforts to liberate our country. We need posters. We need paraphernalia. We need stickers. We need banners. And yes, we have the Modaku Moda campaign that the comrade talked about. It's still ongoing. We have a cash app that I will share with you on the screen. But again, I will also share with you the cash app here. It is People Power UG, and the number is plus 185 771 94451. I'll say it again, plus 185 771 94451. That is our cash app. Also, our fundraising platform, kindly allow me read it to you. It is https peoplepower.org.ug/donate. Kindly reach us on that and facilitate our activities. We also have a mobile money account in the name of Daniel Oriot. In fact, there are two. They are both in the names of Daniel Oyerwot. One is 0703636363, and another is 0787336363. Kindly reach out us on those contacts. But also, I encourage you, those that have direct contact with our comrades, with our foot soldiers, continue empowering them. But again, continue holding them accountable. Let us do this together, because we can do it together, comrades. I thank you, I salute you, and I pray to the Almighty God to keep you alive and strong, so that we all can come together to celebrate the downfall of a brutal dictator called Yoweri Museveni, as we embrace a new Uganda, a Uganda that will make us proud to be called the Ugandans, a Uganda which we will exist and we will move in those countries in the street feeling proud to be called Ugandans. We shall hold our flag, black, yellow, red, with pride. We shall sing with our national anthem with no shaky voices. We shall truly be Ugandans. We shall be proud of that country, because it is our own confidence, it is our sufferation, it is our tears and sweat that will have built that country called Uganda. Don't give up, my brothers and sisters. Don't grow tired. Don't give up. Let's keep going. One great man said, tears and sweat, they are both salty, but one gives you sympathy, the other gives you victory. Let us choose sweat over tears. Let us stand firm, stand together, and together we shall liberate this our country called Uganda. I salute you, and I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for being on for God and my country. People power, our power. Our power, people power. NUP, everywhere. Everywhere, NUP. When can I sing a song as I sign out?
Mr. President, I'm going to unmute the comrades to give our Mugala our Mubala, and so that we can all say people power in one spirit.
Certainly.
Before you leave.
Most certainly.
Okay, go ahead and guide us. Many
Sure.
comrades can now unmute.
Comrades, are you there?
So that we can all say people.
All right. People power. Our power. NUP everywhere. Everywhere. NUP. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in the new Uganda. People power, our power, NUP everywhere, everywhere, NUP. And I also salute you, comrades, in the tech. Yeah. 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 Bibiru mabayai. Yeah. Sajja kimu mbadde njagala mutta.